Hi, I'm Brad Rich. I have a young Congo African gray named Draco, and this is my free flight story.
Joy to edit.
Oh, Draco.
It's alright.
I turn around, he's there.
Oh, you got some company.
It's like, hey, good looking. Alright, Brad, you want to run? Run to the bitches. Let's go.
Whoa. Oh, he. Yes.
Well, I got Merlin about 35 years ago after watching a video about Alex, or we all know about Alex the Gray. That was about as much information I had about parrot ownership when I got Merlin. Unfortunately, he passed away last December of heart disease, and I knew I wanted to get another one. Left pretty big hole in my life. But I knew I had to become more educated, step up my game, so I can take better care of my next parrot, whatever that was going to be. So I did have a consult with Jamie. I was thinking of a Galah, thinking of another gray. We decided on another gray, a male, and here we are. So that led me to the BirdTricks.com website, and I said, wow, here's everything I need, a one-stop shop for diet, training, everything. And then I discovered Free Flight and knew I had to do that. Watch the Morgan series. God, I still choke up when I think about Merlin. But saw the Morgan series and knew that Free Flight was a gift that we should obviously give birds. I mean, it's how novel. We're going to let our pet parrots fly. And I thought that was amazing that I was first having that thought after watching that series. Commercial pilots understand aerodynamics, how planes work, how flight works, and a lot of that transfers over to how birds fly and what works for them, what doesn't work. Checklists are good for training. Took me a while to figure that out, but checklists definitely help. You know, we worry about is the descent angle too steep for the bird to get down from. I had an experience where Draco ended up on the roof and I was 20 feet away. It was probably a 45-degree angle. And since I was brain locked, I didn't understand why he couldn't get down to me. But we figured it out and recovered him. And I think there's some weird association between being a pilot and the fact that we like birds because they can fly. There's an association there. My biggest struggle during the 6 weeks of working with Dave, I don't know, hindsight's 20/20. I mean, clearly it was setting his motivation right and getting his diet right. I was feeding him too much. He was heavy. So I think I struggled with that. I didn't know it at the time. We were making progress. He was making the corner flights and the point-to-points and was generally doing pretty good. But could have been better. But now that I know that, we'll continue the training and hopefully get out here in 6 months. I was definitely a motivated trainer. It was I was interested in learning as much as I could. I was amazed by some of the subtle techniques and how they change during the training process. We had one consultation where Dave was gently kind of beating me up on when I was clicking and when I wasn't clicking, and be honest with you, it irritated the hell out of me. I was a little bit mad at myself, but it got corrected, and the recall moved forward from there. In general, if you listen, if you're motivated, it's not that difficult, and I was amazed by the results. My property has a 2,500 square foot home and another 600 foot office, separate building. It has, you know, a full bath. It's a separate living area, but it's only 600 square feet, and that's where I started my Draco training. So I'd fly them from the top of a storage bin, you know, to me maybe 20 feet away maximum. I don't know if this helped, but for the first 4 or 5 weeks, he was always with me. There was never any point unless I went to the store, but if I'm home, he was within 20 feet of me. And it may have had a positive effect for the bonding. So, oh, and then I got to put up a batting cage. Thank you, Dave. That was fun. Got a kick out of the batting cage installation video. They're showing putting stakes down in nice soft grass, and 15 minutes later it's up and running, and no, not in the desert soil. Took me 5 days, got it up and running. Yeah, I had to drill a hole in concrete each stake, including the guy stakes. So it was fun. Now it's there and I can continue to use it.
Tell us about how Draco got loose twice.
Oh, fun. So the first time was before I hired BirdTricks for the free flight training, but I had done a couple weeks of, you know, recall training from what I could tell from the whatever you learn on the internet. And thank God I did, because it's interesting. I took him right outside my office. He launched. I called Draco. I was watching him fly out into the desert, but he made an immediate U-turn, flew over my head, and landed on rain gutter. And that was the time I should have thought about descent angles, because I was too close to him. And he was just focused on me. He wouldn't take his eyes off me. He clearly wanted to fly to me, but I couldn't figure out why he wouldn't make the launch, because I was kind of brain locked. And my brother came out. I said, Gary, go get his training treats. And when Gary got 40, 50 feet away and the descent angle made sense, he flew to my brother and we recovered him. In fact, my first thought is, do I need BirdTricks? My second thought was, I don't know. And then my third one was, I don't know what I don't know, and I was right back on board. So the second fly off was not a lot of fun. And this was after Dave told me to use a pet carrier when taking him outside, and I remember when he told me that as clear as day, because I looked at him. We didn't say anything. And I said, I handled a 1-pound parrot for 30 years. This guy's not getting away from me. But I didn't understand the difference between a clipped, helpless bird and a young, fully flighted male. And he got away. He wanted to get away. He got away. He flew low and fast, as we've seen him do all week. Got behind the house, and I lost track of where he went. And I lost him. This was 7 in the morning. God, that was no fun. I looked for him all day. Didn't find him. Came back at sunset. Had a pretty tough night. I put his cage outside, hoping he would notice the cage and come to it. I was up at probably every hour, calling and listening, but nothing. And the next day about 1 o'clock, my brother comes running up and says our neighbor has Draco. And the neighbor, who happens to be the only neighbor I know, which really got me, said he saw Draco flying around the house, and he recognized the fact that it was a parrot, you know, from a red tail and a beak, and he had the presence of mind of holding out his hand and calling him after he landed on his roof, and he flew to him and they recovered him. So yeah, I use a pet carrier now. Day 1 at Moab, the first time we take Draco out, was a little bit brutal. I showed up with pistachios, and that quickly got corrected rather firmly. Draco just wasn't motivated. He was a level 3 because, you know, we hadn't corrected my overambitious diet. And so somebody made the comment, we got to start over. And I thought that was go back to Alamogordo and start training in 6 weeks, you know, all over again. And then we watched a pretty bad fly off. And it was a fly off that took 4 or 5 hours to recover. And that'll knock anybody off balance, and it did me. So, you know, Monday night I'm thinking, do I really want to do this? But I did. We put Draco in BirdTricks trailer, fed him a correct portion of food, tested him the next morning, and he was just right on. It was great recall. And Dave said, we're going to fly him today. I was shocked. I was completely shocked because that was a fast do-over. And we flew him, and he did great. He did great. It was impressive.
Come ripping through when they don't expect birds that might be flying over the road. Yeah, if he wants to go the perch, you can let go. All Jamie was encouraging earlier was not to send him because you lose reps that way.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, but if he wants to go, that's fine. I was just looking for them to be a little shorter so he wasn't using all his energy flying back.
I think CRESSI likes
Oh,
a new
boy.
friend.
Yeah, a little droopy wing.
All right, let's go this way, Brad. Right over here.
Move the perch.
So you're good. Just you over here.
Okay.
Miesta. CRESSI.
You got them both.
Whoa!
Good boy.
Musical grace.
What was that?
Who's this guy? Well, they've both made the same mistake. Come on, buddy.
That's cool. Actually.
He's liking that.
Yeah.
How do I feel now about free-flighting Draco as compared to in a day 1, which was not a great day? Yeah, I'm completely all in now. Draco won't let me get 5 feet away from him. We have to trick him so I can get far enough away so he can get a good flight in. In fact, we even took him to a level 3 with pretty steep cliff today, and I didn't think I'd ever take him up there that trip, but I'm pretty willing and anxious to get him back out in the sky. It's fun to watch him fly. So concerning tracking birds, GPSs, telemetry, I did buy the telemetry system from Marshall in hopes that Draco would accept it. I did have quite a laugh when I saw Omen's video where he just reached right around, pulled that tail feather out that the transmitter was on, and I said that's such a great thing to do. But I had hope for Draco. But Draco didn't like the antenna, and he pretty much destroyed that first thing day one. So one of the other free flight people are the owners of that system now, the telemetry receiver. So it worked out good for everybody. But yeah, African grays, they either like it or they don't. And if they don't, it's going away. I think you always have to rely on the training, even with a tracker. The only thing I wish I had done different is try to install that at home and learn if he was going to take care of it then or not. I would have done that differently. I didn't shop you guys. I just, I think I Googled African gray diet and boom, found you guys. And I was done. I mean, it was all there. Everything I needed was there, and I looked at the subscriber count. I mean, how popular are these guys? Is it real? You got to worry about that. But I didn't shop other sites, and since I haven't found any.
Well, I still remember our first consult together.
Do you remember that?
Uh-huh.
You had the same paint on your face I had on mine, and which told me about the love of the birds.
Yeah.
I was kind of done at that point, as far as looking for help. Did you ever hear about my dream about it? Just as I got started, I'd seen, I think I told Dave, but I had a dream CRESSI and Draco bonded, like inseparably. And I left them with you guys.
That's cool.
You'd still be free flying.
Yeah.
Free flying together would be cool. I'm not leaving them with you.
I